carry almost any type of virus in it that wouldn't be on the telephone. There's no way to go ahead and store a virus in most cases on the client device. On your PC, though, with a soft client, it does make it quite easy to get in and now monitor phone calls and things of that nature. That's one of the big things that we're seeing on the federal government side. They want to make sure that people stop running so many of the soft phones out here. That's how most of the bad code and Trojan horses do get into the telephone systems, and you're running on a different platform, so it's something that could go ahead and contaminate the entire Asterisk platform. Let's see. Being able to go ahead and store the user credentials. Third-party credentials is another way to go ahead and make sure that the phone network stays secure. We have, especially with mobile devices, we have a problem with a lot of people when they leave the company, they'll somehow make off with the telephone, and now they have all of the important connections into the network just by coming into the lobby, sitting down in the lobby, and now they're back in the network and able to crack into the, let's say it's P&G's network, and now they have a new way into it. So being able to use third-party certificates is another way to make use of some security into the network that is available on the Polycom phones. Securing the IP phones, most phones, including our Polycom phones, already have most of this stuff up here. But we do need you to, as I mentioned, change the default passwords. Right now, I can tell you what ours is. It's the name is a capital Polycom and 456. But the thing is, everybody that has ever pulled a Polycom manual has it right there in front of them. So as you can understand, that's one of the easiest passwords to get into, because once you get into the phone, you can telnet into the telephone, and now you have access into the network. So you could do almost anything that you wanted to at that point to get into that network. You want to be able to secure the media by using local encryption, being able to hold all the data that is cross-network within the local area network that you do have. Let's see. One of the other things is to being able to exercise some control by changing and having a separate VLAN. You would want to have a voice VLAN, keep that separate from the data. And that way, once you sign into the voice, you won't have access into the data network. Data network won't have access into the voice. Now, there's another reason behind that, because you can also set the quality of service on that separate VLAN. That is usually the reason for it, but security is another purpose to do that with a separate VLAN. And then you want to disable, once again, all the unused ports that you're using in the network. Once again, this goes back. I don't know why we have so many copies of this. The PC, you want to make sure that you do have a security through it. So one of the other reasons that you would have 802.1x is that you would take the PC connectivity from the telephone and prevent him now from entering the rest of the network. So he had to stay on his telephone. If he were to come down and plug into another PC, you would automatically reject any other login by a PC until he had the proper credentials to come into the network. Desktop security for conferencing. One of the things that we do have in the latest version of software, in this 3.3 software, is that now we do have a quicker boot of the telephone, but it also does have the SIP authentication with custom certificates, and they're loaded directly to the phone instead of having to come in from different config files. The STP, SRTP is also available in our latest version of firmware. FIPS compliance, once again, 140-2 for local data encryption. These are all things that are available. This LAN intrusion I was talking about is EPOL, and that it's 802.1x. And I guess that's just a summation. We want to make sure that on the external network that connections to the outside world are mitigated to prevent introducing those risks. The internal network, once again, we do want to make sure is a security that we have under our control, so we know what we can do to secure that network, as well as the server and phone configurations. Those config files, once you get into them, they give pretty much anything that you have in the network. So our phones do have the full set of security capabilities, and just stop down and see it. Hopefully we can have answers to your questions. So do we have any questions now from the audience, or anybody? Yes?
With 1.8, things like SRTPs and asterisks now, are you going to put up how-tos on using your polycoms with asterisks 1.8?
It's already in the config file itself. You know, with all of our phones, when you download the latest versions of firmware, that 3.30 software, it will have the latest config files. That is one thing that I do ask, that you don't keep the original config files in there when you do upgrade software. You do need to use the most recent config file to turn on those features. Security features are no different. Anybody else?
The newest firmware
Yes.
is very, very different style, set out differently to
Right.
your old firmware. But we published it a while ago and then drew it back again. And now it seems to have been republished again. Is it
I don't think it was actually drawn back.
wasn't it? It just
No.
appeared on the website.
It should have been up there. I think we were putting up 3.3.1 up on the site, because I know that that was one of the things that they may have pulled it down before they actually had the latest version of firmware up there. But that's what's up there now. Anybody else? Okay, let's go grab a beer.